I will always remember my grandmother speaking into me at a very young age saying, "You can have it all." And I thought, wow, that is so cool. That was the beginning of my journey. That was the beginning of kind of knowing that I could have the American dream. And what was the American dream at that time? And I'm sure that could have been the case for some of you too. It is like, go to school, get good grades, get a great job, save your money, uh, pay off your house, pay off your cars, retire and live happily ever after. That was the American dream. So I lived that American dream. I went to college, graduated from college, uh, got a great job with a company, a big company, worked for that company for 20 years, and I accomplished it. I worked hard. I worked a lot of hours. Ended up married with a son. We had everything going for us. It looked great from the outside. But you know what I realized? I was just dying on the inside. It was just go, go, go. And I call it my zombie years. I was working 80 hours a week, and literally I was, big into health. I was out doing something from a health standpoint, and I'd get up 4 in the morning. I'd go for a run, sometimes 10, 12 miles, come home, shower, go into work for 11, 12, 13 hours, come home, have a little dinner with the family, go downstairs to the man cave, have a drink, fall asleep on the couch, stumble back upstairs and do it all again the next day. That was my life. But it was, they're paying you well, and I ended up with that American dream. I had, all the money I could ask for, house paid off, cars paid off, but I wasn't happy. Oh my goodness, was I not happy? So that led me to, I thought, well, here's the key. I need to get passive income. I need to not have a boss anymore. So I ended up sabotaging my own job. And I remember telling my wife at the time, I have to get out because, the longer I was in the corporate world, for me, the more I saw the politics and the closer I got to the top, the more I didn't like what I saw in the people and the ethics and all of that stuff. So I remember telling my wife at the time, I've got to get out of here. And she goes, "Oh, just hang in there. They're paying you so well." I'm like, "You don't understand. I cannot do this any longer." So I basically self-sabotaged myself. They relieved me of my duties. Luckily, they gave me a severance, and ended up at home and thinking, "Gosh, what am I going to do?" Well, I always had that entrepreneurial spirit, so I ended up starting a wine store. So I became an entrepreneur, had a wine store, and it was wonderful. The beginning. Lifestyle was crazy, as you can imagine. So I ended up divorced. I got to meet wonderful people, travel the world, a lot of fun stuff, but it wasn't good. And guess what? I still wasn't happy. I remember playing solitaire on my computer in the back of the wine shop, and a customer would come in and I'd be frustrated that they interrupted my solitaire game. Do you think something was off a little bit? So you guys, I struggled a lot. I owned that wine store 15 years, and I probably knew after about 5 or 6 years that, boy, this isn't doing it either. I had another failed 6-year relationship after my divorce. So I was just not in a great way. My lifestyle, again, from the outside, everything looked great. But from the inside, I was just slowly dying, and that led me to my lawnmower moment, or what I call my big fall. So, you can imagine after a whole lifetime of achieving and doing what the world said was the right thing, and everybody, giving you praise and saying, "Wow, this is so cool what you're doing," and just having to just shoulder that for your whole life, and not show weakness, and not always be everything to everybody. It finally all came crashing down on me one August day. I was out mowing my lawn, in my backyard, and was listening to Blake Shelton. Those of you know Blake Shelton country songs called Austin. Had it on headphones at a mowing yard, and all of a sudden, I don't even remember how it happened, but I ended up in the fetal position, bawling like a baby, just knowing I cannot do this anymore. I was done. I was literally done. The weight of the world had come crashing down on me. And, part of my story growing up is I had a bad experience with religion. So I always thought, religion was for the weak, and they preyed on the weak, and it was, no, I can do this. I can survive. I'm gonna, like my grandma said, you can have it all, and I was gonna have it all. It was all on me to do it, and I was gonna do it. Well, the next day, a friend said to me something that changed my life. Remember, I thought religion was for the weak, but I was done. I was broken. So they just held up their hands. They said, Bob, there's religion and there's God. That sentence changed my life. Totally changed my life. I felt this weight lift off of me. Right? A week later, I went to a church, and the typical story where the pastor is speaking directly to you, and I gave my life to Jesus. I surrendered my life to Jesus. I said, look, I am going to follow you. Take my life. It's yours. And you all, from that second on, this huge relief came over me. I felt this joy and this peace that I had never experienced in my whole life. That's how I know Jesus is real. Okay, so for me, that was the genesis of Life Transformed. That is my founder story. From those moments, this stirring in my heart began to really well up. I knew that the experience I had was needed out there in the world. And that's how Life Transformed came to be, right? Because I wanted to make sure that anything I could do to help others have that transforming experience that I did, I was ready to do that at all costs. So that brings us to where we are today, Life Transformed. I am so glad that you are here. I'm so glad you're listening to my story here. And, there's so much to this story, but a big part of it was my brother passed away about 3.5 years ago. He was 1.5 years younger than me. And he lived just a tortured life, drugs and dependency, just all kinds of stuff. And, he went to treatment. He did everything the traditional way, kind of like the this world way to treat that kind of stuff. And he never was able to have the life, to see the light that I saw. So, he went to some of the best treatment programs in the country. Didn't work. So part of Life Transformed is creating these love places and spaces where people can go, and they know from the moment they walk in, and it could be virtual, it could be, a real space, but they know from the moment that they walk in, from the vibe, from the people, the sounds, the smells, the visuals, that this is a special place. People here are for you. They don't judge you. They're in harmony with you. And we do that by creating a community. I believe, this is the Holy Spirit gave me this. We were designed for a community. And the one problem that we're all facing that we may not even realize is that we're all in isolation. Even though we're more connected than we were at any point in time in history, we're still isolated. A lot of times this is guys from a big standpoint that if a circumstance comes into our life, we tend to say, I've got to deal with it. So we go into our little shell and we've got to deal with it. I don't want to burden my friends, that whole thing. Well, that's what we want to do, is create a community of people within Life Transformed, where you've got this community of people who are for you, don't judge you, are in harmony with you. Because once you can get into that community, what we were designed for, that community, there's freedom. So a place like Life Transformed will help the Paul Boldens, my brother, of the future. And it's going to help everybody who is seeking more. So if you're in a spot in life, like me, where you were successful by this world's standards, but there's more, you're seeking more. Maybe you haven't achieved success in this world. Well, I'm here to tell you, You don't have to go down the path I did. Let me give you a little tip. You don't have to do that. Seek God's world of significance. That's where it is, and we want to help you do that. We want you to be part of our community. I'm so happy you're here, and please, 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 you're watching this Founders video, engage with us. Make sure you go to life-transformed.com, get on our email list, right? Of course, keep watching this YouTube channel, and I so look forward to adding value to your life, myself and our community, our team. You know, we're just attracting some amazing people, and we want to do this. We want to do this for the kingdom. We want to honor God in everything that we do. We want to make sure his legacy is known. We want to make sure his name is known by what we do and the way that we can create abundance, and we can help people like you achieve your big dream, your God-given dream. Because man, if we're all operating on that cylinder, watch out, world. That's what this world needs, doesn't it? I believe it absolutely needs this. We need to be the light in the darkness, and that's what we are called to be. And we are called to be in community. So that's what Life Transformed is all about. It is a community of people being the light for the world. And Lord knows the world needs that light. Okay, so again, make sure you subscribe to our email list. Go to life-transformed.com, get on our email list, subscribe, click on the subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch, and we can get you into our community very easily. All right, take care.